Hey everyone, thank you for joining me in today's class, Recovery Potion. This is kind of a yin hybrid class. It's going to be the perfect way for you to connect back with your body mentally and physically. So you're going to need a bolster or at least a big, maybe bed pillow or cushion, 2 blocks or something that size, and possibly even a blanket. So grab your props, get comfy, and we'll meet right back here on your mat. All right, everyone, before we get started, I just want to make a little note that this is a yin hybrid class, so we won't be holding poses maybe as long as traditional yin, but the idea of a yin posture is we use these props and blocks and bolsters so that we can get really, really comfortable and completely let go. We let gravity take over. And instead of physically forcing ourselves or trying to go deeper, we just allow time and space to let that happen kind of magically. So go ahead and grab your block and your bolster. We're going to start in child's pose. I'll guide you in with these props. And then after I guide you in, I'm not going to say a whole lot more so that you have time to go even deeper mentally. So we're going to start with the block. Let's take it lengthwise horizontally between your heels. We'll have a seat. And then grab your bolster or pillow and kind of snuggle it right between your knees. When you're ready, we can start to climb on down. If you have a bigger pillow or you even want to stack 2, that can be really comfortable as well. So go ahead and turn your chin to one side. And allow yourself to completely melt. Relax your shoulders. And I encourage you in a lot of these postures to even close your eyes. I want you to start to peel yourself up. You can take your time here. Any intuitive movement between poses is always welcome. Set your props off to the side for now. I'm going to have a seat. Maybe give your knees a little bit of a wiggle. And start to find your way into butterfly pose. So we're going to take the soles of our feet together, and I'm going to leave them a little further in front of me so it's more of a diamond shape than heels all the way in. Depending on your flexibility, you can use 2 blocks under each knee to feel a little more supported, and then even lie your bolster again in your lap to rest your forehead on. I'm going to go ahead and remove the blocks because I want to go a little bit deeper in the pose today. When we're holding these postures, I do want you to look for stillness in the physical body. Sometimes a lot can come up for you mentally. and we look for that physical distraction of movement. So if you are uncomfortable, definitely adjust your body so that you can get comfortable, but I challenge you to really try to find the stillness. Maybe go a little deeper with the breath. Our final inhale. And gently begin to crawl your hands back, easing your chest up. And we're going to take a little windshield wiper of your knees from side to side. And coming into a straddle forward fold, if you have a blanket, you can use a folded blanket or even roll your mat up halfway just to place under your seat or your tailbone. Having a little bit of lift will help you enter into the pose deeper. Let you get set up with that. And then of course you can definitely have your pillow or your bolster in front of you if you want to be able to relax your forearms down on, or maybe your forehead on a blanket. As you start to settle in, close your eyes. And again, we're going to look for that stillness in the pose. And begin to work your way back up. I know for a lot of you, this is going to be the hardest class of the series. Sometimes when our bodies are stiff or we even have overactive minds, it's really hard to keep the stillness and keep the depth. Find a little bit of that intuitive movement here, easing your way out of your hips. You have to trust the process. Trust that this class is your preventative medicine, right? This is what's going to keep your muscles nice and flexible, your joints lubricated. All right, open your legs a little wider. So traditionally with forward fold, we have legs together. I want you to take it just a little bit deeper so that, again, we can place our bolster or pillow. We're going to kind of go in between a straddle and a regular forward fold here. If you want to keep your mat rolled up, that works perfect as well. Lengthen from the spine, and then completely try to melt, turning your cheek to one side or the other. Begin to roll yourself all the way back up, setting your pillow or bolster off to the side. You're going to come onto hands and knees. And stretch one leg back at a time. And just take some nice big hip circles. So sitting back over your heels, swinging your hips down in front of your wrists. And circle to the right, all the way through to the left, and switch directions. Nice. Pigeon pose. So we're going to start with the right leg forward. You can place a blanket under your back left knee. It can be nice if you're on maybe a hard surface. If you're really tight in the hips, you can use a block under your right hip if you feel yourself that you're completely collapsing into the pose. And then again, we're going to have the bolster in front of you to relax on. If the bolster isn't high enough or you're just feeling really tight, know that you can stack pillows or even stack your bolster on top of your blocks. So get creative when you need to with your props, because the idea here is the more comfortable you can be in your body, the deeper you're going to go in your pose, and then the more benefit you're going to reap. Close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale. Let your next inhale begin to ease you up and out of the pose. Take your time. Let's move to hands and knees again. This time we're just going to kind of sink into our hips side to side. Feeling into all the work we just did on the right side. And when you are ready, we'll set up for pigeon pose on the left side. So same idea. If you used a blanket under your back right knee, maybe a block for the left hip, or even your bolster in front of you. It's really natural to be a little more open or even a little tighter on one side than the other. So adjust yourself accordingly. When you're ready, we'll come all the way down and just fully surrender to the pose. Inhale to ease up and out of the pose. One more time, coming back to hands and knees. Just a little intuitive movement, working into your legs and hips. This can be dipping hips side to side, maybe recreating those hip circles. Grab your blocks. So the next pose we're going to do is one of my favorites. It's a really beautiful heart opening pose. We're going to make a T with the blocks. So one of the blocks is going to support behind your head and the other your back. And depending on how much of a back bend or an upper back bend practice you have, that will be your desired height. So I'll show you here on the lowest setting. So this would be 1, 2, and then 3. You're really not going to find the highest setting too often with this pose. I would suggest starting low or maybe taking it a little higher. So we want the crown of your head here, I'm sorry, maybe the occipital, the back of your head here. And then this block, the top of the block, is going to stop kind of just right here at the top of your shoulder blades. You can definitely place a blanket over these just to make them a little softer if you have the cork blocks like I do. Take a moment to ease your way down. Sometimes it takes a couple tries to line up the blocks. So again, top of the block ending at the top of your shoulder blades, the other block under your head. And if you really want to make it nice and comfy, you can place the bolster under your legs. I'll show you here, just under your knees. For a little more support, you can relax your palms facing up. Or if you're not using the bolster, we can take our feet together, knees wide, and have a little more of a hip opening pose. Nice and slow. Let's begin to draw yourself up and off of the blocks. You can move them off to the side. We're going to find our last pose in a supported bridge. So keep one block. Come all the way down onto your back. Again, we have different heights here. First height, second, and then third. So I'm going to take the medium here, maybe the second height, using one block. You can also use a blanket if you need. And you want this block to go right at your sacrum. So not in the soft spot of your low back, but just right on that flat part. It should feel really comfortable for you. And then two options here with the legs. We can take our feet wide, knees together as a counter pose if you chose to do Baddha Konasana legs with the last pose. Or you can, again, take Baddha Konasana legs, soles of your feet together, knees nice and wide. But again, we'll take our palms facing up. Try to fully relax your shoulders and close your eyes. Way to begin to draw your feet under your knees, grounding the soles of your feet. Just enough to lift your hips up and remove your block. Letting both knees at the same time just gently fall to the left and then the right. A little windshield wiper here on your back. Straighten your legs. Let's take one hand to your heart, one hand to your low belly, closing your eyes. Before we get up and get moving, I want you to notice your natural state. After taking this class, notice if anything came up for you, maybe if you were able to let anything go. Nice and slow. Blink your eyes open. Let's come all the way up to Sukhasana. Thank you so much for joining me in this yin hybrid class. I call it a hybrid because the traditional poses are held 2 to 10 minutes, and we did the longest hold for about 3 minutes. If you are feeling like you're wanting more out of a pose, then the next cycle through that you do this, feel free to press pause at any time. Namaste.